What's up?
Yes, indubitably D.
What's going on? I'm Jared.
I am Josh. Good to be here, brother. Thank you much, man.
Here's to you, Marvel Entertainment.
Yeah, seriously, absolutely, man. Cheers for the working studio.
Yeah, that does smell good. So what's the Endgame?
We did.
I don't know if anybody else did.
Yeah, we're in that same spot now. Where again, we actually both went to see it, so we both are going to review it. It's going to be fun.
Yes. The Venn diagram has converged.
It has. We're
And
right
it's
there.
ready to snap.
Right there. Oh, seriously, man. Hold on now.
But, man, I don't know if you can even call it a review when I'm like, I love everything, but the stuff I don't like, you're not going to hear about. So it's not that I love everything. It's just if I don't like something, I'm not going to bother to even waste your time with it. But this one, my initial thoughts, if you want to call it a review, is like, if this was what they had in mind, I mean, it was worth it. It was worth sitting through all those movies, and I've seen all of them. Don't count the Fox stuff. In my opinion, that is not the Marvel Universe that we're watching.
It's got nothing to do with what we're talking about now. So
everyone leading up to this, there's not a one that I've missed. And it was awesome. It was worth it. It was, if this were the ending, it's not. But if it were, then what better way to go out? I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man. I'm totally with you. I absolutely loved it. And it's really like trying to consider it as like the two-parter, going back to Infinity War and then adding this to it. It's so unbelievably good. I really loved it. We were talking earlier about there's just like, there's so many people in it. There's so many characters in it. So there's a lot of fan bases represented. So as far as like stuff that you like, stuff that you don't like, basically what I was telling Jared was this. My guy, I'm a Captain America guy. It's my favorite guy. He always has been. He always will be. And I thought everything about all Captain America adjacent storylines in that movie were perfect.
Yeah.
And so I am hoping that whoever other people's characters were,
the same
they got close, because at least at the very least for the big three, or for the original crew, which is just holy crap, man. It was great. I loved it. I really did, man. I liked honestly, man. I'm very happy. I was telling Jared, man, I'm very happy that the Russos got the reins, because when the Russos took over, basically I should have known then, and I've seen it now, that Cap was always going to get the happy ending. Thank God. Very, very nice. But so that was very cool. Everybody got a nice moment to shine, except Star-Lord. Poor Star-Lord.
Yeah.
And now he's got to he has to 51st dates his girlfriend, which is kind of a bummer for him. I'm not bummed they brought Gamora back, because I thought it was great the way they worked this. I was telling Jared, there's very much a last episode of Seinfeld feel to it, where it's like, how is she getting everybody back in here?
We're going to go through all the hits, and we're going to get everybody back the only way we can.
Yes, like, how are we getting everybody back in this thing?
Yeah.
My favorite return as far as time travel and bouncing and whatnot was Mjolnir, and the reason they brought Mjolnir back was it was what it had to be. Had to do it. You had to do it, man. If you've ever read, which one is it, man? Oh, shucks. I'm sorry, I can't even think of what it is right now, because unfortunately, I've got JLA Avengers stuck in my head, and that's Superman that winds up with it. He's got the shield and the. But yeah, it's just, that was so very, very cool. I liked a lot of stuff about it, and
I liked Steve getting it, knocking Thanos off Thor, and thought, who could it be if Thor's on the ground, then it's Cap holding it. But I just felt like it was a little bit overdone for me. I just thought when he's going back through time and he's still holding it, it's like, do you really need it now? But maybe he was going back. That's one of the things he was going to leave with the stones. It's like, no, this needs to go back. But other than that, I mean, that
could be. I think the point is, if Tony Stark's dad makes you a shield, or Thor gives you a god weapon, you keep the god weapon. I'm pretty sure that's what they were going for there.
It just, it was just one of those kind of things, like, why now? But I dug it. probably. I mean, I guess the one thing, and I've been Team Tony with a lot since day one. But when they open the movie with what happens to Clint's family, and you're kind of okay, it kind of makes plenty of sense.
That was
Give
great.
him his motivation to come in.
That was great to get in there.
Then I was one of the few people I know that kind of was saw Tony's point in Civil War, but then in this one, when he shows up and he's all, mad as hell at everybody,
He's not going to take it anymore.
Really, and he's all in Steve's face, like you really don't have much of a point this time. I mean, I get you. Tony and Steve have to be at odds at all times, but like, did you not go through the same thing that we just went through? I mean, why are you so pissed when you said you wanted your freaking shield of the world or whatever he calls it, and you did it anyway, and it almost killed all of us. We weathered that storm, and we were all there together. We did all lose together. So, but I just thought his he shows up mad as hell, and you're like, you really don't have much of a case this time. But we got to have an argument with them, because that's just what they do. Let's do what we do.
That's what we do. You got to have the scene with the shield in the trunk and all that good stuff. But yeah, the other thing that I was thinking about with that as well, because it always comes back to Civil War and like, well, Tony was right. Well, Steve was right. No, nobody was right. That's why it worked the way it did. But ultimately, like we were talking about, one of my favorite things, and boy howdy is this a jerk moment, but I don't care. This is me sticking my chest out for both of us. For everybody that had a little hissy fit over, what was Star-Lord doing? What does Star-Lord do? Oh, Doctor Strange is so stupid! And you try to explain to them, he told you one scenario. That's not what he was talking about! That's just so stupid! That's not what he was talking about! Boy, have you seen Endgame?
Yeah.
If you've seen Endgame, take this as your official invitation to never talk about this stuff ever again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Tony, as far as him being mad as hell and not taking it anymore, not getting your suit of armor around the world is part of the one story. Yeah. It has to go the way it went. Everything has to go the way it went.
Yeah.
So we all get to relax. And also the thing about that was, because there was a bit of like, you get like laughing and guffawing during those scenes from Camp Tony. And it's like, guys, we're 20 minutes into this thing, man. They're telling you he's wrong. They're telling you. It's the same thing with the take all that away, what do you got? Everybody thinks that's like such a great, oh man, Tony, you're so funny. And it's like they're setting up the third act because Tony is the guy that jumps on the wire. That's the whole point. People miss it. They're too busy laughing. Oh, Steve's poor. Apparently that's funnier than the point of the scene. And it's like, no, man, they're setting that up. And then you get that payoff too, where it always had to be Iron Man. Iron Man, it's got to be, it's his story. It's Tony's story. It had to be him. And that was my other thing for Camp Tony, is like, Tony's wiener is still bigger than Carol's, so everybody can collectively exhale on that. We're just gonna make the girl win. Okay, go watch the movie. You'll be happy, I promise, because that I really was telling Jared, I really enjoy. I guess I shouldn't say go watch the movie, because if you haven't watched the movie and you're watching this, that's a big mistake, because we're gonna talk about all kind of stuff, man. I thought that the Captain Marvel was a little tricky, just because everyone was so worried about her being the nuke, and I was one of them. Like, you cannot introduce a new character that comes in and wins the day. You can't do it. So I thought that the balance of having the reunited Big Three go out and fight Thanos was fantastic. Having her show up the way she did in that scene was quite good too. Yeah. Because they definitely get across to you that, oh yeah, one-on-one she can take him. They got that across. That was okay. But he decides to frickin' barehand his Fruity Pebble and basically knocks her from the fight scene to Tony's front porch. So it's like, it was like, it was pretty, everybody, I think everybody got something for that. Because Camp Thanos, you're going to be happy because she didn't win. And people that did not want her to beat him single-handedly, which I think is the overwhelming majority of us.
You're from space, aren't you? Here's a space stone.
Dude, seriously, it's like you can't have one person show up and kill Thanos. Now, one of the things, just as far as for myself personally, just one of the things, one of my best bits and my favorite pieces of fan service is that the Big Three were left intact. They did not try to shoehorn Hulk into that fight scene, and I'm like, thank you very much, because the Big Three is a big deal to all of us old head Avenger fans. That was awesome. I loved it. That was totally awesome. But Man, I'm trying to think of other stuff, like real highlight stuff that I loved. One thing, obviously, all the Cap stuff I loved because he's my guy, and I think he's the best. I was telling Jared, I was super happy that they did what they did as far as him laying over in 1970. That was fantastic. And then when he shows back up, it's just him sitting there chilling, and he gives Sam, not Bucky, the mantle. I loved that. I was so happy about that. That was
how it needed to be in these movies.
That's the way it needed to be everywhere. That's why it wound up that way in the book too.
Yeah.
Because Bucky Cap lasted for about a year. It was good. Bucky Cap, the stories were fine, but then Captain America became Sam Wilson, and it's the way you have to do it. So good. We talk about it all the time, man. It's like, what character would you rather get rid of, the Falcon or the Winter Soldier? Because everyone that loves Winter Soldier, you don't want to be without him.
Yeah.
So just bypass all that stuff. Loved it. I was so happy that that's how they did it. On the subject of Sam Wilson, we talked about this a minute ago too. My biggest pop moments of the things that just really made me freak out. One was seeing Tilda Swinton again. I was very happy about that. Again, like the way to, let me start earlier than that. One of my favorite things is I love that we are name checking between Scott Lang and I believe it was Rhodey and, I don't remember who else was in the conversation. But they basically start name-checking all of the movies that the meme lords immediately go into overdrive thinking about. Oh, time travel! We're going to do a time travel movie! So they basically take all your bullets away from you by naming Back to the Future and Terminator and Time Cop or whatever it all was. And it's just like, boy, that one hurts, doesn't it? Because I know you're just like,
Ted's Excellent Adventure.
I had the perfect joke, and it's like, yeah, and they beat you to it. Sorry.
I was mad at freaking Tony for stealing my Lebowski joke, but, you know, that's just like they're on the silver platter.
I'm telling you, that was one thing that was. There were a couple of things I did get frustrated with. I was telling Jared, like, if there for the 7 people that didn't think that Ragnarok had gone a little bit too far in making Thor a comedy character, this is your death nail. Because boy, it was
really gonna hammer it in.
Yeah, it's absolutely. But like the man was saying, whenever you get like the flip switch, what it is that flips it is like the switch flipped. Excuse me. What it is that puts him in gear, what it is that gets Thor going again was really excellent. Really excellent stuff. And also, people that have been waiting for Natalie Portman to come back, here's to you.
There you go.
Here's to you.
There you go. Bye-bye.
Yeah, man. But
I like, there was I think it was Kevin Smith's review just talked about just, you know, it's really ballsy to do that with Thor. It's like, man, they just continued what they've been doing since Ragnarok.
Thor's been a punchline since... Thor's been a punchline since Avengers 1.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, it was not.
It's not as, you know, ballsy as I think as you're giving it credit for, is what I'm trying to say.
Ballsy, I don't even know if I would say it was ballsy, because like we talked about, it's basically, we'll give you...
His physique being that different was kind of like, you're seriously going to do this the whole movie?
Well, that was one of the things. That was one of the funny things I found interesting. Is like, for people that if it was just so sensitive now, and it's just so really PC culture's ruined the world. Don't worry, you can still laugh at us fat people. I promise you, it's okay. Because boy, those jokes landed, and everybody just is guffawing, and I'm like, I'm trying to hear this, y'all. Come on, man. Yeah. But it's not a ballsy decision because it was such a good decision. But basically, when the Russos are like, oh, we'll give you Gamora back, but it's going to cost you something. And that was handled incredibly well. We talked about it, man. When you shoot those two off into space, and knowing what their mission is, you know where it's going. Yeah. And God, it still hurt when they got there. It sucked.
It was like, there's really no way out of this, is there?
Nah, man. And it sucked. But it did set me up for my favorite scene in the whole movie, which I was telling Jared about. And as much as I love the Captain America stuff, my favorite scene in the whole movie was Wanda and Clint by the little stream discussing, you know, oh, she knows everything worked out okay. They both do. And I was telling him, I was in a conversation in the lobby at the movie theater where it's all like, yeah, but she was talking about Tony, right? And I'm like, no, she was not. It's like, go watch Age of Ultron again. You'll see who she was talking about.
Yeah.
It was awesome. I thought that was such a cool, like, bonding thing for them, because it's like, she's not, you know, it's like, no, man, that's not who she's talking about. And also, I just thought of it now. It's like, she ain't talking about the Vision either, guys. It's not what it is. They lost somebody that wasn't that. Wasn't that. This is like brother-sister stuff. It's fantastic. And also, it's a nice little, you know, wink to... I love all the little West Coast Avengers stuff. They don't do it, but it's like Hawkeye and Wanda got a lot of history together. So it's great to see them hang out together, man. It was like doing the Kooky Quartet and... oh, for Pete's sake, man. I think that was Age of Ultron where they stuck the 4 of them together. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. But you got the 4 of them in some stuff. Same thing with Pietro saving Hawkeye. It's like this, more of that West Coast stuff. Oh God, I loved it. It was so good,
Yep.
man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what other like for Pete's sake, I thought getting Loki back in was nice because that's good for everybody,
That was cool.
and also it's very good to do it that way because
Fun to see that kind of, to, I guess, to use what they are. Gave us the Back to the Future, like as this was going on, maybe from this angle it looked like this, and this was going on was kind of, and it takes you back through the greatest hits. I love how that it's we're gonna start with Avengers, and we're going to take you back through that. Screw you guys, Thor 2 was good. We're going to make you watch parts of it again. And as, like, I like how, as Tony and Steve are in the 70s with Howard Stark, Thor is with his mother on the day. And so it was like, it was just, I thought that was really good that those scenes were kind of happening basically simultaneously.
Yeah, my favorite thing with the Tony stuff is Tony's not my guy. Spider-Man's definitely not my guy. But I thought the stuff with them was really nice, especially for the people that like that story, because I thought it was good, and that's not even my thing. So I'm assuming that if it was your thing, it really helped out. I thought the stuff with his old man was great.
For the people that like that kind of thing, this kind of thing those people like.
It's cool. It's like I can't imagine how much you dug it, because I dug it. So it's like, man, good job, y'all. And I cannot remember what the heck else. There was one other thing that Tony got that I was really happy about and thought it was cool. Oh, I thought all the stuff like in the post My World is Crap stuff, him and Pepper having the kid and all that. That was cool. That I just, man, I like. I cannot think of anything about it that I wasn't wild about. Even like
debating what I could not do this. I could pretend I never found this. And but it's not what you. That's not what you get to do.
Yeah, man.
And be Iron Man.
Yeah, man. It was awesome. I wouldn't have changed anything. I thought it was. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, my favorite thing again was Clint and Wanda. That was great. But my favorite single line, we talked about it, man, is mankind's last stand. Thor's been wiped out. Iron Man's having a rough time at the moment. So it's Cap, it's Shield, Mjolnir, ready to rock and roll. It's all good. And whenever the calls start coming through, and it's Sam on the intercom. Yeah. Freaking On Your Left was so good. That was such a great callback, man.
Definitely one of those moments. Like, I'm not gonna do this right now.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And then also, just to drive home the point, because I'm a completely vindictive jerk, you knew it. As soon as they all started cropping up, it's like, Steven told you, one way. And I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Good job, guys. But we were talking about it, and this is fantastic. It's on I think it's the Hollywood Reporter. But if you're interested, just type it into Google. It's the first thing that comes up. Okay. But they basically, I'm convinced, I might be wrong, could be totally wrong, just gut feeling, that this is the benefit of having the inside track the Hollywood Reporter has. Because they have this dissertation about Peggy and Steve.
Steve Rogers killed her husband.
It is a long thing about how the internet's already melting down. Like, well, Peggy Carter had a husband, 2 kids, and Steve just messed that up. He just undid it.
He showed up in Wonder Man his ass off. To fly out to space.
Wouldn't that like change history? That's crazy. And the point that is made in the article is that they establish in Winter Soldier that Peggy Carter's husband is never named and there's never a picture of him. The only description you get is, he was saved by Captain America in the war. Well, Steve Rogers didn't die in the war, so Peggy Carter's unnamed husband is Steven Rogers. And the reason I say it that way, period, point blank, and the reason I say Hollywood Reporter's got the inside track is just like we said. Really? They put that in Winter Soldier? Who was it again that wrote Winter Soldier?
Oh, yeah.
That's right. The guys, the guys that put the last punctuation on the entire story. So good on them for throwing that in like that and just letting it roll. And also good on Haley Atwell for being so bitter for the last 6 years about the canceling of, or however long it's been, about the cancellation of Peggy Carter. Because then when she shows up in this movie, nobody sees it coming. Nobody. It's just, it's like we talked about, man. This WWE keeps trying to do that fake bitter Twitter war stuff. And it's like, her job as far as the Disney movies, literally since that show went off the air, was like, man, convince people you're mad about it. Make them think you're mad about it. That is really fantastic, man, because then it's a genuine surprise. I loved it.
Did it even? I know it got a season, maybe two.
I think it was just one.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just one.
Yeah, that Jarvis came from that, or at the very least, Agents of Shield. So that was kind of a nice little throwback to that show as well. Like,
Oh, yeah.
somebody else getting to come back and play was the actor that played Jarvis. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Sweet. Oh man, it's awesome.
Yeah, man. I just couldn't think of a better way for it to go out, and I just dug everything and just kind of reiterate everything about the way people came back, and it's going back and just going through, giving you the best of. I thought Hell Hydra was a fun part.
Fantastic. That is such a kick in the nuts.
Yeah.
I thought that was so good. Thank you, because I'd forgotten about that, but I loved it when he did it. It was like, I'm not sure. I don't know which came first.
Yeah.
But I thought it was fantastic to get Steve on camera saying Hell Hydra. That really was good, man.
You just kind of thought, well, he's gonna have to waste all these guys again. We're gonna get Soldier
Elevator scene part 2.
Yeah. He's like, he's squashed all that, and right when you think you're out of it, like, no, you're not.
It was awesome, man. That stuff was good.
How in the world does Thanos show up to, was it 2014 Avengers compound, whatever
right.
year it was, levels the place?
Oh yeah.
And nobody's dead?
Yeah.
Didn't kill any of them?
It was far and away, that was the biggest, like, there were the whiffs in the theater I was in. Captain Marvel going holdo on Thanos' ship was the biggest fart in church, because absolutely nobody cared. And it was all good. I mean, it's Captain Marvel. You got to give her something big to do. They did not invest this much time and money into this character to not give her anything. I think I swear, I think that's one of those things people will like when they see it the next time, because every single time she was on the screen, you could just feel people's sphincters clenching.
Ooh, here it comes.
She's gonna win. She's gonna do it. She's gonna ruin the whole thing. She's just gonna save all of them, and it's gonna ruin the whole thing. That's what people went into the theater. That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
And so now, knowing that doesn't happen, when she gets her second, you're cool with it. But yeah, it was just like, that was my thing with the special effect with the compound. It's like, okay, Scott Lang and Clint Barton are just humans.
Yeah.
This is dumb. And you can't kill Clint, because now you've killed Natasha, and she's old. He's got to live forever now. Yeah. But I just, that was my one thing I thought was way overdone too. And we can, that can transition into,
I like there was the whole, I guess it was kind of like a play on one of the issues of that cover from Secret War, Hulk basically lifting the place, but I kept thinking, well, they're gonna kill the Hulk right here, and that didn't go down either. But I just thought, somebody had to have been lost in that, but they didn't do that. So, and then one of the things I liked the most too about what ends up going down in the stories, I like the two people that go at the end, like not having a last line and not having that last little quippy, like, you believe this shit, or something like that, as they go to Ash, or just kind of like,
I could really go for a shawarma right now.
Something like that.
It was cool. They didn't do that, man.
And I for a second I thought, after I Am Iron Man, and every piece of Thanos' army is gone except him, I thought they're gonna leave him. But then it happens. You go, okay, that's I thought, well, maybe they're gonna be like, well, no, you need to stay, and that's your punishment, is you're now alone with no army or anything. But he blows away. So okay, well, that solved that.
My one thing with that was, I like the idea. I still much prefer the idea of Nebula being the one that kills him. Mm-hmm. But you can walk that back when you have Nebula being double agent, being in there twice. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, it really is exactly what you just said. The idea of Tony snapping, the army away and not Thanos really doesn't make any sense. You're totally right. It's like, it's not like, oh, Tony should have left him alive so Nebula could kill him. I thought Nebula killing him would have been neat, but it worked better. It totally worked better the way they did it.
Yeah, that was, to me, was a bit of a surprise. In the first 20 minutes of the movie, they're like, well, if you like Thanos getting killed, we've got the movie for you.
Yeah, yeah, and that was something I thought was really strange about the whole.
So we still got a solid 2 hours to go.
It
What
was-
are we gonna do?
It was something I thought was odd about, and it's cool actually. When you go back and watch it again, it'll be like, oh, this is the first preview that they're going back in time to bring everyone back. Okay,
Mhm.
but I thought it was interesting not interesting. It was one of the things that drove me a little bit nuts, and they did spell it out later in the scene with his mom.
Mhm.
But when Hulk is all, take your hands off me, Thor. I know you're scared. I know you're scared of this. He's not scared of Thanos. He's mad at himself for not doing it earlier. It's like,
Yeah.
what are you talking about? He's not afraid. No, that's you.
Yeah.
I thought that was so stupid, and
You're projecting a little bit too much.
no
there.
kidding. And then they played it off.
Bruce.
They played it off really nicely when he's talking to his mom about
Mm-hmm.
how he's dead now, but what good did it do anybody? Basically, it's what he's saying. And it's like, what are you talking about, man? He's not.
Yeah.
You're the one that's afraid of him. He ain't afraid of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just
You don't got your ass kicked. That'll be nice.
yeah, that was one thing I was surprised about was they just left Hulk down. I was very surprised they left Hulk down. So I guess that we're talking about you can have not Nebula. I do it every time. I name the wrong one.
Mhm.
You can have Gamora back, but it's going to cost you.
Okay.
You got Captain Marvel now, but it's going to cost you. And the thing about that is, I know that a lot of people will be unhappy that Hulk is a wuss now, but it couldn't be Thor. They already neutered Thor in the name of the Hulk.
Yeah.
So it had to be Hulk.
I just did not think that smart Bruce Thor was nearly as funny as the Russo. I don't know if you blame the Russos for it, but the little scene at the diner.
Oh, my
and
God.
like, y'all, this is not nearly as funny as y'all
Yeah,
think
that-
it is.
that
Move this on.
That took way too long, and I thought that and it took me a while, man. Almost anything that I first initially didn't like, 3 or 4 scenes in, however many minutes that would be, it kind of grew on me. And the thing with like Hulkalo
Yeah.
is that is how you have to do it.
Mhm.
They had to do it that way. So I'm like, well, okay. So I shouldn't say it's how you have to do it, but it was a smart way to do it. Because just back and forth and, oh, no, can't turn into the Hulk. Oh, man. Oh, me Hulk now. Hate everybody. It wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
But I did think that Tessa Thompson's lying to him when he first shows up to the fishing village. I'm like, I think they wrote that line for her to speak on behalf of all of us.
Mhm.
I was like, I think I prefer either one of the other Hughs better than this.
Yeah,
And I was
yeah.
like, that's totally how all of us are feeling right now, isn't it?
Yeah.
That was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for real. I was like, man, just change back. It's fine. Either way is okay. It
Yeah.
sucks, man. Him taking the stairs and giving Loki the Tesseract was ridiculous, but I kind of liked it.
Yeah.
I don't remember what else. It was one of the throwbacks like that where they got back into where they were in the other movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was something I thought was they just got literally are pulling scenes from the first Avengers, and I'm like, man, this just turned into Return of the Killer Tomatoes. When
Yeah.
they start running Attack of the Killer Tomatoes during the movie. Like, that's awesome.
Let's all enjoy this again.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, this is a new movie, or they just used a lot of scenes from the first one to save money. Yeah, that was the complaining. If you haven't seen Return of the Killer Tomatoes, I cannot recommend it enough. It is a fantastically funny movie. I love it.
Yep. One review that I watched of the movie, it was kind of interesting. Way to do it is I watched James, the Nintendo nerd, it's over there at Cinemassacre, them boys at Cinemassacre. They did a pre-watching review of, not I'm going to call it a review, but he was basically giving his case that he prefers the solos over the Avengers movies, and very rarely do I disagree with the Nintendo nerd. But the anytime you put Avengers in front of the title, I mean that's going to be one of my favorites.
Me too, man.
I just love getting. I love getting all the characters in there together. Now, at the same time, when you start throwing time travel in there, and when I try to follow it and figure out, okay, how could this happen if this is happening, that's when you'll go crazy, and that's when you need Michael York to just kind of look straight down the barrel and be like, we just suggest you don't worry about that. How about that? Because that was the one thing that at first I've only seen it the one time. I saw it on a Thursday night, and we got back home at Avengers World. Hulk has done his thing, and Thanos is immediately there, I was like, okay. And I guess I need to go back and watch it because I think there's a part that I kind of maybe zoned out about where is seeing the Tony Stark discover time travel, but I was just like, how could he get there that fast, or at least know to be there at that point in time to just level the place? That was the one point I was kind of like, did I miss something? I mean, how could he know just to be there right then and there? But at the same time, it's like it is a movie.
I could be wrong. Just hypothetically, not hypothetically, just answering straight away.
I was just like, was he still plugged into Nebula?
That's what Nebula was doing. That's
Okay.
what she was there to do. I think.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't quite. I think that was the whole thing. Was they took her whole brain apart and all that good stuff. Because that's how comes good in the end. Because it's all like, you know what you turn into, and then she still tries to kill her, and then good Nebula's like, nope, F that.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like well, you can interact with your past or alternate selves, and Nebula's like, sure I can. I can blow her to shit.
I'm going to chance it.
Yeah, that's okay. Why not? But man, doggone it, there was something else that I was going to discuss or wanted to discuss, and I don't remember at all what it was now, man. Because I made notes like of the things I wanted to talk about, but I just got like so overcome with Valentine's for Captain America that I'm like, fuck yeah, good job, guys.
We kind of we set up the rules for the time travel that we're going to abide by, and then we instantly like just screw all of them. Just Steve's fighting himself because that's what Captain America would do. He's like, you're not going to get away with this.
Yeah,
I don't care
yeah.
who you are. They kind of squashed the time cop rule where you can touch your previous self.
Another one of those genius little ways to have Loki escape.
Yeah.
To where instantly he's like, jigs up, Loki. I know it's you. So that's like quite cool. But America's ass was quite funny. It was stupid at the time, but when Steve bequeaths it upon him, the title upon himself, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Man, I'm just with you. I'm like, it's messed up because I had tons of stuff to say when I came out the theater, and now I'm all like, I keep stumbling over my words, but I really liked it, and I'm totally with you as far as it being over. I think we talked about it, man, that Steve and Tony, I believe, are done. I mean, not even Steve and Tony, but Chris and Robert.
We were hanging it up.
I think so. I mean, I think they were serious about that. I thought Hemsworth was too, but I get the impression he's still going to be around. And poor Star-Lord, God. I mean, Star-Lord really is. He's the only guy I can think of that really did just get dumped on the whole movie.
I'm taking your team.
Well, yeah, it's like, I mean, the poor guy, he like thought he got his girlfriend back, and he didn't.
Nope.
He goes down and comes and gets his love again. He gets knocked out instantly, and I'm like, golly, they just didn't have nothing for you, did they, man?
Yeah.
But again, there's certain decisions you have to make. Obviously, you only have a certain amount of time.
Chris Pratt pissed somebody off at the Marvel offices.
He might have. It's like, are you done with those damn dinosaur movies yet? No. Well, okay then.
Well, here's to you.
All right then.
That's one of the. As far as I know, it's. And I really loved, and there's another point that Kevin Smith kind of brought to my mind and brought to my attention. Is one of the things that I think makes it clear that there's more people done than we realize is they did the Final Frontier ending with the credits roll, signature. They fade into the stars.
That was great, man.
I dug that a lot, and it's the core Avengers 1 characters that only they got that.
Oh yeah, I thought that was cool too. Even Sam didn't get that.
Yeah,
which is amazing because I thought them ending with him was very appropriate. But yeah, it's that original team, which two of them are dead. Steve is obviously.
I think he's wrapped up.
And
I think him and Thor both could be peppered in as long as it's done, very lightly. Then it'll be cool. But for the most part, I think there's like, man, look, man, you've shown through what you've done with Michael Douglas and old dude from Mad Men and Robert Downey Jr. for that matter. We don't have to be alive for us to even be in these movies.
It's true.
So just do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, man, that's what I thought about Michael Douglas running down the hallway. It's like, relax, Star Wars fans. Carrie's going to be just fine.
Yes, she will be around.
Yeah, man. God.
You go, but there's a scene in. I don't think they gave him that treatment very briefly in Ant-Man, but it really got hammered home in Ant-Man and the Wasp. There's a scene with him and Michelle Pfeiffer that it looks like he walked off of the set of War of the Roses.
Yeah, man.
And I freaking love that movie. But so that's like right at the time period when I would, Wall Street War of the Roses. Michael Douglas was like, he was on screen.
Hey, it was a big deal, man.
And this one that was like Streets of San Francisco, but
That was my thing with him running down the hallway and all that. I was just sitting there looking at the face and the voice and all that stuff. I'm sitting there thinking, man, I haven't seen the game in a while. I need to watch the game again. That was good.
Yeah.
That was a cool movie.
But I like that they got the Star Trek V send off. Like these guys are done, and there's still talk of the whole. There's talk of a Black Widow movie, but then there's talk of a Black Widow show on the Disney app. I haven't heard anybody say definitely that Scarlett Johansson has even signed up for that. So you're going to recast it?
If it's a TV show, they'll have to recast it because there is no way they can afford her to do a TV show.
I mean, with it being Disney, I would think that maybe they're calling it a TV show, with it just being like a short, like mini series kind of thing. But at the same time, I'm like, it's not like Disney's short for cash, but still, that's like, who knows?
Nah, it's not that they can't afford it. It's Disney. They can afford anything. It's that you absolutely, positively cannot set that precedent.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about with like the real. I don't know if we talked about it on here or not. I hope we did, but I'll do it real quick here.
Mm-hmm.
The real. Let me just say it. Let's cut right to it. This is wrestling. We're moving to wrestling now, just for a second.
Hell yeah.
Vince McMahon, 1,000% is not concerned in any way whatsoever with AEW putting him out of business.
Mm-hmm.
That is not why he's offering $2 million contracts to the Revival. It's not why the Joey Ryan thing, I think, is a lie. I think it's another one of those clues in the they're in it together kind of stuff. Vince is not worried about AEW putting him out of business.
Mm-hmm.
Vince is worried about AEW offering time off and medical, because once they do, then you have to. Because if you don't, you will put yourself out of business.
Yeah.
But once you have, that genie don't go back in that bottle. And I mean, you can put AEW out of business the next damn day. You can't undo that. And that's all I mean by that. It's not Disney can't afford. You're right. It's not a sentence that exists in our human language. It's not that they can't do it. It's that there's no way.
I'm not saying that she would. I'm just thinking if, with the way things have been going these past couple of years, it's kind of like who knows. But I don't know if it'll even be live action. It may even be like anime.
It could be.
It's been kind of ambiguous what exactly the show is going to be on the Disney app. I'm hoping, speaking of wrestling, I'm hoping they Viking Experience the name of the Scarlet Witch and Vision show, because it's called WandaVision.
Fantastic.
And it's same deal. I haven't heard if that's definitely going to happen or not, or it'll be animated or what it's going to be.
Yeah, man.
But or if we'll have the only thing that has been implied is it will definitely be in connection with everything that's been happening in these movies, and I don't think it's their way of getting out of doing the Black Widow movie. It's just kind of like how it's going to make it a lot harder to do now, considering the events of Endgame. But it definitely, I've heard that I think Chris and Robert are done. Gwyneth is done. Fine. If Robert's done, then she needs to be done.
Yeah.
But I think there'll be a lot more guys kind of going off than we've been led on, and I think it's a good time to reset. It's a good time.
Oh man, dude, we talked about that when you reestablished the big three of Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. That's where this was always headed.
Yeah.
That's totally where it was always headed, and it's dandy.
Yes,
but I want more Wanda. More Wanda in my life, because I want Wanda and Doctor Strange to do cool magic stuff.
Rock and roll. No, but when I had the Star Wars Skywalker reaction when people kept saying the name of the Scarlet Witch. I was like, why are y'all saying it that way? Because that sounds terrible. And then you Google it and like, oh damn,
Yeah.
they're saying the name of the show.
It's okay.
Do not like it.
Yeah, I can skip all that, no problem. I am a huge Wanda fan, huge Vision fan. Don't need WandaVision because it just.
Yeah.
I'm good, man. I got books I can read, and
And if you tell me that they're going to use the cast from the movies, then I'll definitely be tempted to check it out. But I just don't. I haven't heard anybody say they're going to do that. I don't think they will.
Yeah, my trick with the Disney app is love or money, no chance. I could not. I don't care. I just stop, guys. And it's messed up. I mean, it's great. That's a great like nuke to get a lot of people that you wouldn't get because, I mean, everybody with kids is going to have that sucker. That's fantastic. But don't have kids. Don't need Disney. So and again, I like what we got. I'm very, very cool with what we got. I don't need. Also, I'm not wild about.
I never watched any of the Netflix Marvel stuff, so I'm good. I consider those kind of like the Fox stuff, I guess, and I'm not supposed to consider it that way, but I do.
It's.
I don't have to check it out.
Marvel Knights is the way I would say it. Now, don't get me wrong; they are part of the cinematic universe as far as they make reference to the events that happen in it, but it's not necessary. None of them are like so great you should watch them. When the history of the whole thing is told, we've talked about this before. When the history is written on the entire thing, all of the Marvel's just so kiddie. I don't know why Marvel's so kiddie. They don't have any grown-up characters. Yeah, Jessica Jones shoots that right in the ass. And as far as there are no good villains in Marvel, which that's the great thing about Thanos is boy ain't nobody bitched about that in a while, have they? But the I forgot his freaking name. The guy he's in the Harry Potter movies. He was in Doctor Who. It'll come to me.
David Tennant.
Thank you. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, that's he established that a long time ago that there was a genuinely vicious and scary bad guy. Even Thanos isn't vicious. That's a terrifying character. It's like basically it's just more of the same.
Where they try to build Thanos' motivation with those people like, oh, maybe Thanos had a point. To kill all the Mets.
Yeah, man. The whole deal about Thanos having a point is like, well, Tony was right in Civil War. It's like they did a good job of building both those things, and they went out of their way in the last one to be like, well, half was apparently too much. I'm just going to kill all of you now, and I'm going to enjoy doing it. So they totally went full on heel in this one. And it was like, good for y'all. That was a very smart decision because he wasn't wrong.
I was trying to be nice by doing half.
Yeah.
Then y'all had to show up, cut my head off in the first 20 minutes. F that noise. Now I'll restart everything, and then I'll have all y'all to not be here. Thank God.
I liked his little armor scarecrow and him dragging himself in from getting his food and just explaining what exactly happened to him. Like, oh man, that's brutal, man. Yeah.
I barely survived one snap. I did it again.
Yeah, man. It's cool, man. It's just great stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing it again already. I'm just going to wait, though, because I can put the ticket money into getting it. And then I'm totally with you on the team stuff. The solo stuff outside of Captain America, it's not that I don't care. It's just I really haven't seen very much. I saw Black Panther, and I really love it. I saw Captain Marvel, and I like it.
I count Guardians of the Galaxy in with those team movies. Though,
absolutely. That Guardians is a team movie, so there's that. Yeah. We'll get to that.
It's really, I had somebody ask me at work today, I'm not going to sit down and watch 21 movies. Which ones do I need to see? And I was, basically, it was like Avengers 1, Age of Ultron, Civil War, and then I think you're ready to go start this run. Start Infinity War and this. And I think, for the most part, you'll be able to piece it together if you have any. You could possibly throw Guardians in that just to have a fun one in there, but it's I think as long as you see those, you'll be down to check out everything that goes down.
The only other one that I would sub in there
Mhm.
is I'm with you. You definitely have to watch all the team stuff. And as far as Guardians, I completely agree. That is team stuff. And also, Cap 3 is too. It's called Captain America, but Civil War is it's very.
That's what I meant.
No. I'm agreeing with you. I'm totally agreeing. That's not the one I'm throwing in.
Yeah.
I agree with you totally that those work.
Yeah.
You got to watch Doctor Strange. Because whenever Hulk goes back and hangs out with the Ancient One, it's like, what the F is this? So that would be the one of the solo movies that I would say you have to watch, which I love just for like we talk about with going forward. I like, man, Panther, Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange. I love that being like your new big three.
Yeah.
And I love what they did with the big three in this one. Good for them, man. It took them a while with Thor, but that's okay.
Yeah.
That's all right. And Thor... I was glad that as Guardians of the Galaxy was aligned in the movie. That made me very happy because we talked about that. I was thinking Valkyrie, but that's okay. They did good. They did good by her, so that was cool. It's cool what she's doing. So the fact that what made Thor the Asgardian of the Galaxy worked out well for both of them. So that's totally cool.
Yeah.
And I know there's something else, and I just can't think of it. It's a lot of movie. There's a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of itch to get in.
Yeah, man. Seriously. But I totally. Backtracking for just a second, I completely agree with you on Civil War. That's like vital. Got to watch that one.
That's what I was telling Josh earlier. I forgot how good Age of Ultron was when I was Sci-Fi or one of those channels this past weekend was showing Avengers and that back to back, and I caught the end of Avengers and caught the rest of that. I was like, man, this Joker holds up way better than people give it credit for.
That's my
I
original.
thought it was really, really good.
I took my dickhead victory lap about Doctor Strange. Yeah, Age of Ultron's my original dickhead victory lap because at the time, I told people it's Jackie Brown. You're only dissing it because you think you have to. Everyone got Tarantino fever on Pulp Fiction, and every movie critic on earth was going to turn around and blade whatever he put out next. Age of Ultron hit that level where we gotta hate on one of them, and jerk that I am, I loved Age of Ultron even at the time, and here's why: because Wanda Maximoff is in it, and I love her, so that's just very cool. But the other thing, this has always driven me nuts. So by God, here I am venting about it one more time. Everybody in the series that gets a joke that's not named Tony Stark is too funny. They're trying too hard to be funny. Why is Ultron funny? They made Ultron funny, and he's so vicious. He's a killer in the books. Yeah, because in the books, he's based off Henry Pym. In the movies, he ain't. He's based off Tony Stark. You don't think Tony Stark's offspring would have a smart-ass mouth? Because I think they would. Yeah. Makes sense, but it's the whole thing. Like, when you go back and watch it again, you'll dig it. It's fine. It's a middle chapter. It's right there in the middle. It's going to be cool. It's what I kept telling people about Last Jedi, too. But, boy, it sure doesn't look like that's what they're going to do with that series. So that might not be true. Yeah. But with Age of Ultron, it's true. Love that stuff. But also, just to really, another exclamation point for you, I'm totally with you on the team stuff, including Guardians. I 1,000% agree with you on that. That's just that's what I like. I don't think I have any of the solo movies. I own 5 of them. I own the 3 Avengers movies and the 2 Guardians movies, and that's it, man. Because the Cap stuff is great, but I don't have it. I do need to get Civil War though. Avengers 2.5, gotta have it.
Yeah, man.
Excuse me, darn. And Ragnarok was great too. It's not that I've never enjoyed any of the solos. I like them. I just don't watch them again.
I dig them all.
Oh yeah,
plenty. Yeah. But the team movies, the Avengers movies, have a lot more rewatch value. I guess is the way I would put it.
Yeah, I can dig that.
You could watch Avengers 1, 2, 2.5, Infinity, ending again and again and again, and I think you get plenty out of it.
Totally agree.
There's some of the solos kind of like, once you've seen it, I'm done. I don't need to see, some of these people. It's a little kid.
That's a little kid. I totally agree, man. That stuff works, man. And it's cool, and I'm glad it works because just like as comic book fans, I know that I don't know if we both prefer teams, but I know we both love teams because teams are all I really care about. The solo books, and this is again going back to why I'm so happy that Sam got the shield. My favorite solo book ever is Captain America, but I love the 70s stuff that's Cap and Falcon, which, I mean, 2 people, it's hard to call it a superhero team, but it is. You get 2 guys to follow, and it's like, that totally counts.
The logic I've heard placed is brilliantly done. I think it came from somebody was down at Quest Comics when they were just talking, or one of the comic shows we went to, and it's like I would look at the cover of Spider-Man, the cover of Batman, the cover of whatever, and then I would look at Avengers, and I would look at Justice League. Like, well, I'm getting them and some more.
Absolutely.
Give me that one.
That's totally the thing. When I was a little kid, my favorite
Give me.
When I was a little kid, my favorite superheroes were Captain America and Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, or I can buy this one and they're both in it. I completely agree.
Why not do that?
That's exactly what happened. And so something else I love about the Fantastic Four is that you get them in every issue.
Yeah, they're a team in of themselves.
Yeah, so that's it. You get all of them and all of it. It's cool too. One of my favorite things that happened in Fantastic Four, I think it might be the best example I can give just how good Byrne was on that book, is Ben is my favorite member of the Fantastic Four. I love him. He's probably surpassed Captain America, like front to back. Ben Grimm is my favorite comic book character of anybody, including Captain America. But when they took him out and left him on Battle Planet and they replaced him with She-Hulk, did not miss a beat. And it's awesome that you can take my favorite character out and, to be fair, replace him with another one of my favorites, because I am a She-Hulk fanatic. Starting with Byrne, because he was very good at that character. And then what eventually Dan Slott turned her into. The Dan Slott She-Hulk stuff is among my favorite superhero. It's really superhero comics are about all I read, except for I love like Watchmen and Sandman and stuff like that. But holy crap, Dan Slott's She-Hulk is exceptional. But it was just a cool thing. Like, it was the book that I love, and they take my favorite character out of it, and it's not that you don't notice because one of them's orange and one of them is green. But as far as the quality of the book, it's so good, man.
Since the whole merger, that's anytime something gets brought up in one of these movies when they're talking about doing time travel, and I'm like, are they going to say his name? Are they going to say, let's go talk to Richards, let's go talk to Reed? I know this is not the movie. We're too far in to throw in somebody like that, but that was kind of like, are they really going to do it? I was thinking it. I was like, oh, come on, are they going to do it? But I'm cool with how things went down, but I was like, it's got to happen. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking that, like we said, man, they were never. For all the
just mention the name and I'll be satisfied.
For the consternation over, and it's another one of those things where, okay, Tony can sit in his house and invent time travel because somebody said it.
Yeah.
Now I've had to listen to crap about Reed. Well, Reed just pulls the solution out of the clear blue sky, but it's okay when Robert Downey Jr. does it. Is that what you're telling me?
Sat down at a table and I was like, oh, we can do that.
Well, I'll be darned. Yeah, that'll work.
Well,
and it's like,
I got this little computer that does a little loop-de-loop.
Yeah.
I figured it.
Of course, exactly, and that's totally what Reed does in every other episode or issue of Fantastic Four.
What we're gonna do, boy?
I'll tell you what, man.
Hold on tight.
What should I say?
Speaking of going back to the 1970s thing, I do like that they had the foresight to let's grab some more of these Pym particles.
Well, see,
here.
I will tell you, man. As far as why didn't Thanos kill them in the base, that frustrated me. The second thing that frustrated me is the first thing that occurred to me is go get some more effing Pym particles. It's the first thing I thought of, and then they got it into the movie in a nice way, and especially with why they're in the 1970s.
Yeah.
So again, another one of those things that wound up working out way better than my initial thing. But that's the first thing. Oh, we got one shot to do this, la-di-da. And then he freaking breaks one on himself, and I'm like, why don't you make your first stop somewhere else as opposed to...
Honestly, when Hawkeye volunteers and is the first one to go back, part of me thought, is he going to take his little Apple Watch off me like, this is good enough for me? But that's not the hero move either. So that was kind of creeping in. Like, is he going to not go back? Is he going to be like, drop this thing off and I'm good and I can sacrifice the Mets as long as I get my family here, and I'll try to find a way to keep that from happening. But I'm going to be here. But it didn't go down that way. So, and I'm glad it didn't. But it did kind of think like, why is he so quick to volunteer to go back? And I thought I'm going to find a way to stay in this world.
Yeah, I was thinking the impression I got from him volunteering is all like,
I got nothing to lose.
I'm done anyway. What the
Yeah.
hell? And but to your point, I think that's why he was just that much. He's gone that soon before she gets downstairs. Because if he sees his kid, I think you're totally
Yeah.
right. I think
Yeah.
you're totally right. He would have hit a Peggy
Abort.
Carter the crap out of all of them.
Yeah. And I mean, was it just something about Thanos' snap just being kind of? It seemed like his half just didn't quite work out. It's like Hawkeye turns out, seriously, all of you? It's like one of the kids, Jesus.
Yeah, seriously. Man, I was
It
thinking.
was just harder on the young than it was the adults or something.
I was thinking the same thing as far as like which Avengers got took. You know, it's like he shows back up and like the ones before they even bring anybody back, it's like, damn, Stark and Rogers, I couldn't get one of you? Jeez. All of the big three, you all made it. Well, whoop-de-doo.
All right.
Well, fine then. Fine, forget it.
I'll fix it. With the
Infinity
next
Stones
time.
are stupid.
They don't work.
For Infinity Stones don't work.
I ain't working.
Yeah, Thanos. They have a Thanos product review for Infinity Stones on Amazon. Don't work. Got rid of half the people, and the only ones that could undo it stayed. Boo.
One reason they would do.
You guys suck. Boo. Wouldn't buy again.
This Stark Industries Infinity Gauntlet sucks.
This thing's crap.
It does not work.
I did. That was another, on the subject of the Infinity Stones and whatnot. I thought, felt bad for him, but I thought Hulk's arm still being jacked up at the end of the movie was very appropriate, and that's cool. That's real cool, man. And it's also such an unusual, like, because as far as the hero moments are concerned at the end of the movie, he's got the first one. He burns his damn arm off, but making the thing happen in the first place. And it's like, well, I never would have picked him to go first. But it works great because it clears the decks for, again, the Holy Trinity to be out there together, and that's awesome. And it's
And he makes mention to trying to bring Natasha back, and I think that would have squashed everything that they did.
Listen, that was my opinion about Gamora. Is like, if you undo the pre-finger snap deaths, you suck.
Yeah.
And ultimately, about that, I think, if I remember correctly, I mean, obviously we got a lot of people back post-snap, but as far as I can think of, the only pre-snap death you got, because I mean Loki's back, but you don't know where the hell he is.
Yeah.
But the only pre-snap death that's back on camera and doing that thing is her. So ultimately, when you wind up having the trade, it's like it really seemed to add a little gravity to that, or even more, I should say. And it's just like, golly, that really was quite well done. Because I was so like, I love Gamora, but it's like if you bring her back, this is ruined. I mean, I know there are people coming back, but if you undo the pre-snap, that's stupid. They found a way around it. And I'm like, you know what? That's not bad. I thought it was super cool. And again, thank God they referenced all the time travel movies they did, because you knew that was coming. But they knew it was coming too.
Yeah.
And it's all good. It was cool. But I just, I'm very, very pleased for Steven. I'm pleased for not much T'Challa. If people are going to see Black Panther, you will be very disappointed because there's not much there. But he is.
They got a big pop coming through their little portal, but that's pretty much that was.
He's not in it very. Yeah, there's not a ton of stuff for him. Yeah. But that's all right because he's the next big solo star. Like even over, I think him and Captain Marvel, but Black Panther's gonna be just fine.
Yeah.
So that's cool. And those, I don't know, it's kind of like anytime they would change the team up in the books, you get kind of excited to see new people too. And so seeing the solo stuff for them going forward is going to be fun. I'm hoping that we do wind up in some way with Wanda and Doctor Strange either fighting each other or as tag team partners or something, just because I like the idea of magic element of Marvel stuff is very cool. Thor is apparently a Guardian of the Galaxy now, which is totally okay.
Yeah.
Just good all the way around, man. I thought it was fantastic. Oh, let me ask you this though. This is a tricky question, I think. Did you like it better than Infinity War?
That's tough.
I thought so too.
I can't say with definite certainty that. Yeah, it was. As I was watching, I was kind of like, is this everything I hoped for? And maybe it just comes to me like in that kind of bleak Empire, Two Towers ending, that I'll probably enjoy that one more, but it's still fun to see. There's a lot of resolution that comes with this
Yeah.
one that makes it worth checking out.
I think I'm in the same boat. I really, really loved Endgame, obviously, because
Mhm.
Steve is the man. But it ain't better than Infinity War. Infinity War was just so impressive.
Not ready to go there.
I loved Infinity War so much, and it
Yeah.
was so impressive in so many different facets. And there were certain things in Infinity War, Endgame, sorry. There were certain things in Endgame where I'm like, oh, come on now, you know. But
Yeah.
I never had that with. It's cool. I got to update my rankings again. Obviously, if it's not outranking Infinity War, it's not gonna.
Mhm.
I think Infinity War was third or fourth when I made the list. I might need to update it now. My number one will never get changed. Apparently, it's just never get knocked off, and then we'll see after that.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll see what happens after that.
Switch it up.
Yeah, man.
They'll take turns.
Yeah, but yeah, that's cool because I'm totally with you. I really, really loved it, but I love Infinity War too, man. So it's
That's a tough one.
yeah, and that's the whole thing. Is like, I understand that. I don't know. It's not to say you liked Infinity War better is not a diss at all. It's just that, man, y'all saw Infinity War. You know how good it was. That's an awful high bar, man. So
Yeah.
it's like we talk about all the time. That leaves you a ton of room to be fantastic, and it was that.
Yeah, and this isn't. I feel like the end of Infinity War. This is like it was another one of those moments that felt like, okay, this is all being built up to a point, but then some of the going back through time to right some of the wrongs. Kind of, okay, well, it's not that there's some fat that could be trimmed, but it's kind of like, I just want to see this resolved, and I don't mean to sound like I'm crapping on it more than I intend to. It's just kind of like I just I'll end up
guys.
end up in. At this point, I guess it's just easier to say. It's just it's hard to have one without the other for me. Because
I think that's why I like Infinity War better. Is
Mhm.
because if that's all you got,
then
you're set.
Yeah.
It's like Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
I like Kill Bill 2 better, but
Mhm.
you got to have that first one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's not the reverse. It's the end result is the same. I thought Infinity
Working
War.
it up the hill, to get it back down.
Infinity War, you could stop there and you're set. And
Yeah.
I love that. I'm glad that still holds up, and I think that's awesome. But yeah, if you watched, Endgame without having seen Infinity War, it's who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like why do I care?
What?
But yeah, as far as like
They got saved by a rat.
as far as like waiting for the resolution in La-Di-Da, I'm telling you, man, that's what happens now that we get the director's cut in the theater.
Mhm.
That's it, because it's just like, come on, Game of Thrones was the exact same way the other night, where it's all, it was very, very good. I'm very up and down on Game of Thrones. The episode the other night was excellent. It was really, really good. It's how, up to a point, it's how I wanted the series to end, but I am a little concerned about how they're going to build up. We were just getting the temperature of the room and talking to my friends that I watched that show with. All of us are like, I don't know if you can get it back up. I don't know why anybody cares now. And it's like,
Yeah.
I totally agree, man.
Yep.
But anyway, we'll talk about Game of Thrones. We'll talk about Marvel, because it was very, very cool.
Heck yeah. That's long and short.
That's me, man. Seriously, dude. We good. It's an hour and 3-minute review for a 4-hour movie.
That's fair.
That's about right, man. It takes a third of the time to talk about it.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Heck yeah, man.
Have a good one, y'all.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Bye.